morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? I'm good. Thank
Good.
you.
This is Recovery at Home. My name's Chris Blaveld. I'm the Director of Admissions at the Augustine Recovery Center. And this morning we have Mark Cantor joining us from South Florida, and his company is South Florida Interventions. Mark, can you tell us a little bit about your services and what you're doing with South Florida Interventions?
Sure. Thanks for having me on this morning. I was looking forward to this. So I'm, in the simplest terms, I'm an interventionist. And what that means is families will hire me to come in and help them intervene on a loved one who is addicted to drugs, alcohol, or refusing to accept treatment for a mental illness or any kind of other addiction, such as food addiction or gambling or sex addiction. But our services are very family focused, very systemically focused, very family focused in that, we spend a lot of time. I always say that my time with the addict or the qualifier, which is the addict or the alcoholic, is really about 30% of the time, and 70% of the time is spent with the family, preparing them for the intervention. So we do a lot of that, a lot of upfront work to prepare for an intervention.
And have you always put as much emphasis on the family as you're doing right now, or is that something you kind of grew into?
More and more. Early on in my career, I did an intervention for a large family, and everyone flew in the day before. It was down in Texas. Everybody flew in the day before. We stayed at the same hotel, and there were like 10 people. And I knew this family needed a lot of work, a lot of preparation. And we started at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we went till 6 o'clock at night, and which is a long day. It is tiring, but it occurred to me during that day that this is the way it should always be. Yeah. And as a result of that work up front, the intervention went very smoothly, and it was an intervention that had the potential to go sideways quickly. When I had first started working with that family, the wife was so afraid she wouldn't even talk to me, and by the time we got to the intervention, she was a rock star, as were the kids. Some of the things we do, I give families a little bit of homework before the pre-intervention. There's a documentary I asked them to watch about codependency and addiction and love, and also to draft their impact letters. But something special that we do during the pre-intervention is we attend an online Al-Anon meeting during the day, because it's an amazing resource. And I want families to see that it exists, and I want them to not be afraid to go, and I want them to utilize it.
Yeah, that's great to hear you say that. One of the outstanding correlations we see at the Augustine Recovery Center is, and we place a very heavy emphasis on work with the family as well, family support call, family coaching, family updates. We do a family intensive as well each month. But the outstanding correlation with the patients who are commencing our program and moving on to sober living, either with us or somewhere else, is success if and when the family is involved through and through and bought into a recovery process of their own. And it looks like you're holding that same emphasis on the family also.
Yeah, I mean, it's harder in that I think families sometimes call me and they want to, they want to be like, well, they're surprised that there's work to be done on their part, or why do I have to go to meetings? I'm not the one that's an addict or an alcoholic. But inevitably, what I see is to your point, is families that do the work together, recover together, the likelihood of long-term successful recovery is much higher. Yeah. And then some people balk at the why such an intensive pre-intervention education. And because there's a correlation between preparedness and success in an intervention.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things I read up on your website, beautiful website, you provide a lot of free resources to families. It looks like you have a free family guide that you can download. And tell our viewers, what is your website before I keep going?
So the website is southfloridaintervention.com. So southfloridaintervention.com. But I also have not to do any brand confusion, but I've actually started my career in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And have another website that's called Capital Intervention, and it's CAPITOL Intervention.
Okay.
It's basically the same thing, but it's more geared towards people in the Mid-Atlantic than South Florida. But I do try to put a lot of resources out there. You know, the how to guide to writing an impact letter is there. It's free. Download it. There's the guide to doing an intervention is there. You know, all kinds of things. The videos.
So you have three things to look for when you're looking for treatment, or three steps to take while you're researching treatment centers, which can be overwhelming for a new family.
Overwhelming.
That's a great tool.
Overwhelming, and you know what? I'm just going through this myself, and another subject. I'm considering the possibility of going back for a master's in psychology. Okay. Just considering. I don't know if I'm actually going to do it. Yeah. But you know, how does that process start? You go on Google and blah, blah, blah. And there's a million responses, and you know what? They all look pretty good, right? Yeah. But they range from anywhere from like 30,000 for their degree to 60,000, and all. So how do I know? Do I assume that the one that's the most expensive is the best? That's probably not the case, or maybe it's very good, but it's not the best for my situation. I don't know. So having someone or having these principles to follow in order to determine what the best treatment is. When a family hires an interventionist, they kind of are hiring a tour guide. It's not just about the intervention. You know, I visit 25 treatment centers a year, right? So when you're asking me where should their son or daughter be, or where should their loved one be, I'm thinking about places I've actually been to. Right, those are the places I'm recommending, like Augustine Recovery Center. I mean, I've been there. I've sat with Jason, the founder, for 2 hours and talked. I'm in. If I got a kid that fits that profile, I'm sending them there because I've been there. I loved it. I walked away feeling okay. I want to be part of this. This is great. So there's a lot to the intervention. It's just you know, that morning of, you know, it's about. You know, some of the things we help clients do is manage out-of-pocket expenses. So some families, every family is different. Some families say, look, this is what our insurance allows. This is what we can do, and that's it, and that's fine. And we make that work, right? And other families will, you know, say have a larger budget. But most of my clients, like, I mean, 9 out of 10, you know, economics is some factor, right? I'm going to say, you know, here's what we can afford to do. So I've been very good at being able to negotiate with treatment centers and getting the best possible treatment for what they can afford, and making that work. It's also logistics. It's managing the flights. It's the transportation. It's like a whole world of things. And sometimes I'll tell families, if it helps, just think of me as a project manager. So that's part of it.
Well, these are all things that go into the admissions process, and, you know, left to their own devices, families can be really overwhelmed by this. So it's great that professionals like you are out there. And I'd like to close with giving you a chance to talk about your book. You're a published author, and you have a book about prepping for an intervention and how families can do that. You want to show us your
Yeah, so in fact, I've got happen to have a and this, the guy in the cover, this looks like one of your guys from Augustine Recovery, right?
Yeah.
This guy's perfect for your program. So it's called How to Do an Intervention, a step-by-step guide for parents. It's on Amazon. We can link it here. Basically, it is my process from start to finish. And the way I started writing is I was writing a piece for the website, and then right as we were getting into COVID, last March, and then I said, there's so much more to say, so I just kept writing, and then said this, this would be great for people to have. And it really is my process from start to finish. And the idea is it's a pretty quick read. I mean, I think a parent can read this in a couple of hours in a sitting, and they can say, hey, you know what? I can handle this. I can do this myself, and these are great tips. Or there's no way I'm doing this myself, and I need to call somebody. And I think either outcome is fine, but there is a third outcome that I want to caution, and that is it's too expensive to hire somebody. This is, I'm not the type of person to do this myself, so I'm going to do nothing. Yeah. Doing nothing is the only failed intervention. Right. Because regardless of somebody's circumstances or their problems, their struggles, there's always a treatment solution that we can find that will work for somebody. Yeah. So there's always a solution out there, and I've been hired by families to do interventions that are as little as coming in and working with the family and making sure the family is going to Al-Anon, and then getting the individual started attending 12-step meetings. So, an intervention can be as light as that, or as, or have a therapeutic prescription that's much, longer, and, there's always a solution. There's always a solution. So, you can do it yourself. You can call me, but just don't do nothing.
Yeah, the worst thing you could do is nothing. And you hear in the rooms of recovery a lot, nothing changes if nothing changes. So
right.
You gotta ask for help, and you gotta step outside of your comfort level to promote change.
Right.
And you have a really great name in the field.
Thank you.
You're a really nice guy. I got to meet you when you came and visited this year.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got to see our place, and I really appreciate you joining us, and I'll make sure to ask you to join us here on Recovery at Home again sometime soon.
Please do. I'd love to. And next time I'm in the area, I'm definitely going to stop by and visit with you and Jason and Lauren and David. So
thanks. I'm gonna put a slide up after this show is over, and you'll see all of Mark's handles and links to his book and YouTube talks. So make sure to check that out at the end of our show. Thanks so much, Mark. Have a good day.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Take care. Bye-bye.